Many blessings. So today I wanted to just talk a little bit about addictions and the cravings that can come up within us, because every day we have the potential to make this choice or this choice. There's always a choice. And over the years I've helped many people overcome addictions in various ways. I've overcome lots of addictions in myself, and I still have things that I deal with even now. And every day we're making a choice. We're making a choice every single day. And what I've noticed, having done 20 years meditation and had a good look at my own madness, one of the great things about doing meditation is that we get to actually face ourselves, especially if you get up very early in the morning like I have. You get to face yourself and see all this crazy shit that's going on inside, And one of the things I've personally found is that we always have choices, and the addiction, any kind of addiction, whether it's an addiction to drugs, alcohol, whether it's a sex addiction, a porn addiction, it could be a Facebook addiction, it could be an addiction to violent movies, it could be addiction to anything. I mean, we can be addicted to pretty much anything at all, because we can be psychologically dependent on certain things, and if we don't get it, then we have these withdrawal symptoms. So I could be addicted to picking up a book and looking at the book, and if I don't pick this up, then I kind of start losing my mind. So we can be addicted to basically anything. And as we go through our day, right, the ego is addicted to suffering, and the ego wants stuff, and it says, all right, where can I get it? And it's on this mad mission, it's on a hunt, where can I get the thing, And once we accept the addiction, once we buy into that feeling, once we say, all right, it's going in that direction, and we kind of get on the train and it starts moving, then it can start getting more and more severe. And there comes a point in the addictive cycle, and I've written about this, there's 10 stages of an addiction. There comes a certain point where the triggers emotional reactions, and then those emotional reactions get worse and worse and worse. We go into an unconscious trance, because we're always in some state of consciousness, and when we drop down into this trance state, then we've completely lost our power to pull the plug. There comes a point where it's kind of like you've jumped off the cliff and there's no stopping it. Once you jump off the cliff, it's gone. You can't stop in midair and come back onto the cliff. Once you're off, once you've dived off the thing, then guaranteed it's just down, right? And then when we plunge in the water and we achieve our wonderful behavior, get our substance or whatever it is that we're addicted to, once we get it, then there's some level of relief. Thank God for that. I feel a little bit better, And that relief after we act out our mad addictions, that relief isn't because we've got something, it's because we no longer have the monster telling us we should have the thing. Do you know what I mean? So the relief after we act out an addiction isn't that we got anything extra, we just took the noise away. So it's kind of like the addiction's like this loud radio that's like rah, 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 rah. And when you act it out, you turn it off, and then there's silence. Yes, thank God for the silence. So you haven't got anything extra, you've just removed the silence, removed the noise, and experienced silence. But the problem is, then comes the guilt and the shame. I shouldn't have done that. There's something wrong with me. That was very naughty. I should know better by now, right? And then what happens? Then the guilt comes. I'm no good. I can't believe I did this thing. I'm so terrible. What? I should know better. I've read all these books. Like someone might say, "Oh, I've just got this book here, Letting Go. It's a great book by David Hawkins." Someone might be like, "Well, I read the Letting Go book. I should know better by now. I should have been able to give this thing up." And then we can beat ourselves up and think we're evil people because we did it again, And then after an addiction, once we've acted something out, then we can say, all right, I'm never doing it again. That was the last time. I'm never doing it again. That's it. I'm not going to touch that stuff anymore. Yeah. And it seems like it's a good idea. Then the next day, what happens? The trigger comes back again. All the same stuff starts reoccurring. Yeah. And if we buy into it and we jump off that cliff again, once you've jumped off the cliff, then there's no stopping it. Yeah. There's no stopping it. You can't stop the addiction after a certain point. So what does this mean? It means that there's a window, there's a very small window where we actually have some control over ourselves. And once we've gone beyond that, there's nothing we can do about it. And it's very good to know the difference between having the power and not having the power, right? So what I found is that it's only in the very, very the earliest phase, that we have power to do something about it. And if we wait till later, it's not going to happen. So that window, which is normally like a few seconds, where the mind says, I want to do this thing, right? That window might literally be 1 second or 3 seconds or 5 seconds, yeah? It's not going to be a long time. And if we can say, right, I'm not going to do it, and just get distracted or do something different, then it doesn't go click, 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 jump off the cliff. Do you know what I mean? That once that click, click, click happens, it's too late. So it's in that moment, there's like a hesitation. Normally there's a hesitation. Should I do this? Should I think that thought? Or should I do something else? And it's so small, this window. It could literally be less than a second even. It can be not even a whole second, it's half a second. We have to jump into that new decision, right? It literally is only there. And we have hundreds of these a day, by the way. There's loads and loads of these things all day long. We're having these experiences. So when you have that moment, that's basically the only power that we have, is right there. And it's, am I going to do this or am I going to do this? And the good thing is that when you make the decision to do the right thing, make the right choice, which is not act out the addiction, do something else, it could be anything else. When we say, no, I'm going to do this thing instead, that is a huge success. So that's like round of applause, congratulations, yeah, that's like a massive upgrade. And then because of doing it once, then we can actually have the memory of being successful. And then the next time it comes up, because it's going to come back again and again and again until it's cleared, then we can do it again the second time more easily. And then the third time more easily, and then the fourth time, and then the fifth time, and it starts getting easier and easier and easier. So you only need one little win, yeah, and then it's going to come back and you have another win, and another win, and another win, and another win. And after a while, that builds its own power, it builds its own strength. And once it's got its own power, yeah, once the strength is there, then everything starts to be a lot easier, yeah. And that reaching that stage is a massive success, a really massive success. And I've experienced this in my own life. Certain things that I was like absolutely couldn't help myself doing, drugs and addictions when I was younger, they're not even triggered by them at all anymore. It's not even like I have to resist. There's just zero interest. I feel completely neutral. Yeah, but I didn't used to feel neutral. I remember when I first, I remember it was 1997, the end of 1997. I went out, got really, really drunk with my friends, and I vowed that on the next day I was going to give up drugs and alcohol and everything completely. And then come the next morning, January the 1st, by 11 o'clock I was smoking weed. By 11 o'clock, like, it wasn't even afternoon yet, you know. So I was like, okay, all right, this is obviously. But then on the 2nd of January, that was it, and I just gave the whole thing up completely. But for a year, or more than a year, I still had all these kind of cravings come up. But now it's like it doesn't. I don't even think about these things at all. But it's small wins, yeah. It's small wins, little wins, like one little thing. And the interesting thing is, every day we literally have thousands and thousands and thousands of these little opportunities every single day, every single day, every single moment. And so, are we going to make the choice that seems attractive? Because remember that excitement feeling, yeah, the addiction is like an exciting thing. I better get it. I know it's bad for me, but I want to do it anyway. It's exciting, yeah, it's exciting, and it creates, there's chemicals in the body. It's like ooh, ooh, yeah. And to say I'm going to renounce that excitement in favor of my own personal freedom and joy, yeah, that's like you have to give one thing up to get something else. So it's worth considering to ourselves again and again. Is the cheap thrill that I get from that little thing worth the whole cycle of drama that comes with it? Because remember, when we do something wrong, it's not just one little thing. Then comes the guilt, and then the shame, and then I need to give it up, and I shouldn't be doing this, and then we feel bad about ourselves. So it's a whole system of things that happen. So one little action leads to this massive spin that just goes on and on and on. So when you're in that moment, that window, we have a choice. It's worth thinking, is it worth me doing that little thing so I get that little feeling? And also all those other nasty things as well? Or shall I just go over here and feel peaceful and not get into that? Yeah. And the wonderful thing is, even if we've done something terrible today or yesterday or last week or last month, right? Even if it's happened like 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, it doesn't matter. We can still start making powerful choices right now, you know? And what I find really wonderful is every single time we do something that is empowering for us, every single time, it's a victory. You know, we've achieved success. It might not be this massive success. Yeah, it's not like this long, massive vision. It's not like you've just arrived at your final destination of your whole life or anything. But it's a small win that leads to more and more freedom. And so I just want to acknowledge you for being here and being willing to look at yourself, because this is very subtle stuff. It's like a bar of soap in the bath. Yeah, it's slippery. You know, you can try and get hold of a slippery thing like that, and it just disappears. So just notice that next today and next day and the next day. Just notice those little windows. They sometimes literally last less than 1 second, less than a second. Yeah. There's a choice. Should I do this naughty little thing that I know is bad for me, that's going to spin me out? Or should I just blow that out and do something else and just get away from that whole thing? And it's so small. It's such a tiny little slither of existence. Shall I have that negative thought about that person? Shall I judge that person? Shall I start manufacturing negative feelings in myself? Yeah, because remember, we're manufacturing feelings in ourselves based on situations, yeah? So two people could be walking down the road and they both get splashed by a car, and one person manufactures rage inside them and charges after the car and tries to smash it and pull the driver out and like kick his head in. And the other person thinks it's quite funny and feels peaceful, yeah? It's the same thing. They both got splashed by the car. We're manufacturing feelings, and once it gets out of control, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So the main thing is to notice that tiny little moment, and it's so subtle. And once you can have the awareness, because this is awareness practice, the awareness of that subtle, tiny second, yeah, because it's only there for a second, and then it's gone. Well, Fatima says, what's this? Resting in the gap of awareness. Well, exactly. And it's only there for a second, and then it's gone. And then there's another one, yeah? They keep coming like that. Awareness. And the important thing to remember is that once we lose track of that awareness moment, yeah, and we start going down the road of the addiction, it's click, 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 and there's no way of stopping it. Yeah, and it doesn't matter what anyone tells you. It doesn't matter what you tell yourself. You might even be thinking, "I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. This is a bad thing. I should definitely not be doing this." You can't help it. Yeah. So it's like there's two buttons you can press. One button is freedom. The other button is the addiction. Whichever one you press, it's going to have an effect. And let's say you choose the button of freedom. The freedom, you have that awareness, and it still comes back again afterwards. Yeah. Then even then, you have to press it again. Yeah, so you might have to do it a few times before it goes away. Yeah, so it's not like you press it once and then you're free. It might be like you press it once, and then the addiction comes back, and you have to press it again, and the addiction comes back, and then you press it again, and the addiction comes back, and you press it again. And then you can let go. Yeah, and I've literally spent hours and hours and hours just like lying down, like if I'm feeling terrible, I'll just sit here like this and just like feel it fully, because I'd personally rather feel my feelings fully and like face all my stuff. I say, come on then, give it to me hardcore, because I'm not going to run away, because what's the point? We can't run away from ourselves forever. Yeah, whatever's inside of us is going to have to be dealt with anyway. So we can either sort of distract ourselves, grab the cell phone and like pretend everything's alright, or we can face our own monsters. And facing our madness, facing our monsters, is absolutely critical in order to overcome them and let them go. And so realistically, we're living in a situation where we can either face our monsters and sort them out, or we can let them run our lives, or we can pretend that we haven't got any monsters and pretend everything's just the best ever and have more chocolate, you know what I mean? You can just pretend it isn't happening, but there's only so long we can pretend that we haven't got any problems, yeah? And then they keep coming back again and again. So I'm personally very much in favour of just like facing stuff full on. So if I got an issue, I'm like, alright, let me look at it 100%. I'm not going to pretend this isn't happening, yeah? When you face it, then the power comes back to you, yeah? And when we deny it, then we're in a deluded state, which is just going to be propagating more and more and more madness, more and more suffering, more and more negativity. So have a wonderful, 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 wonderful day. What a joy to connect with beautiful beings from all over this remarkable planet. And remember, we are all cosmic travellers, every one of us. We're all one family. We all have come flying here on waves of light into this world. These bodies are not what we really are. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you look like. It's not who you are. We're all guests. We're guests on an extended vacation. We're guests on an extended vacation. The world is our playground. It really is. And we're not going to be here forever. We're going to leave. We're going to leave. So this is not here forever. This isn't it. This is great. This isn't it. It's very important to remember that, because if we think this is all there is, then we're trapped in it. When we realise we've come here on vacation, yeah, enjoy ourselves, read a few books, talk to people, create something wonderful. Yeah, enjoy the whole thing, and then leave, be free. Yeah, and we can be free. We can be free in our consciousness whenever we want. So enjoy your freedom. Press the freedom button. The window of awareness is very, very small, but luckily you get lots of them every day. So press the button of freedom. Remember, you're safe and secure, and sending you many, 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 many blessings from the wonders, from the freedom. And just remember that whether we like it or not, every single one of us is going to be free. We're all going to be freed whether we like it or not. We might as well get on the program and dedicate ourselves to pressing the freedom button again and again and again, because whether we press the button and free ourselves, or whether we deny everything and get dragged kicking and screaming back into our freedom, either way it's going to happen. So my personal feeling is you might as well just face it, 100% face it, and just get on the program, because it's much, much, much better to just choose our freedom and mastery than have it forced upon us. Yeah, that's the choice. Much love and blessings. Have a beautiful day, and wishing you so much appreciation and love. Thank you for being here. Enjoy your freedom. Yay.